I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the month of June, so if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. Hey, one more quick announcement before I let you guys go. I'm running a poll over on the community tab of this channel of which character I should play for the last season of Street Fighter V, so go give me your input. I'm going to make a video about it in a few days, so should be fun. Offline's on its way back. I think we have a bunch of cool announcements for a bunch of different games and a bunch of new games that are actually coming out. The CPT is actually running one last season for Street Fighter V, if you didn't see, and they're doing this hybrid format, which I think is actually really interesting and pretty clever, where they're sort of easing back into offline while also having those online qualifiers. And then they're doing like a hybrid system called, I think, World Warrior, where your local scene and like your local region can run some sort of like ladder or like regional leaderboard, and then those players can qualify from different regions and areas. And this year it's 48 players that make it to Capcom Cup, which I think it's usually like 32 or 24. So that should be really interesting and really cool to compete in and to watch. This season was actually not even supposed to happen. The season of Street Fighter V and this season of CPT. COVID pushed Street Fighter 6 back so far that they had, I think, 2 extra seasons now at this point. And speaking of Capcom Cup and like competitive fighting games, ArcSys announced that World Tour, but in the initial trailer that we saw whenever they showed Testament, they said that it was going to be 100 grand for 2 games. So it was going to be DNF Duel and Strive. And I thought that meant they were going to split the 100 grand down the middle for each game, so it'd be 50,000 for each game. And then they put out another trailer that said, no, it's 100,000 per game. Now that's actually really cool. That's like Capcom Cup level of money, right? Capcom Cup winner gets 250 grand, I think. And it's a big step up from the first Arc Revo for Strive, which I think the winner only got like 30K or something. I don't even know if the regional winners got anything. I think the regional winners only got like a hitbox or something. So to go from like 30K and a fucking goodie bag to $200,000 for anime games is pretty huge. And they announced season 2 for Strive, which is kind of expected. Four new characters, story mode and all that. But the big deal that I'm excited for is how big of a push they're doing for DNF Duel to put it in the ArcSys World Tour. They tried to do that for Granblue, actually, if you were around for that. They put Granblue in that ArcSys World Tour, but then they couldn't run offline, so then the game just kind of fizzled out and didn't get its shot. So I guess DNF is going to be what Granblue could have been. Sadly, I think that's what it's going to be. The bad thing though is that DNF Duel is coming out after Texas Showdown, I think the week of CEO, so then it's not going to be there. And then it's not going to be at EVO. It wasn't on the EVO announcement, so there's not really a chance for it until pretty late in the year. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. It's going to be a lot of people grinding and grinding until the last big event of the year, and maybe it'll weed out like the people who don't really want to play the game, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know how they can run the ArcSys World Tour without having that game at like 3 majors, but it should be interesting. I'm really excited for that game. I'm gonna play the beta on Friday. I think it's in like 3 days. Never touched the game before. I didn't play the last like beta. I think there's only 1 beta before this. I didn't play that one, so this will be my first time touching the game, and hopefully they fixed whatever network issues they had last time so people can actually get into some games. You know, now that I think about it, maybe they're gonna run like online qualifiers for DNF Duel since they're not gonna be at majors. I don't know. I think hopefully the netcode is as good as Strive and they can do something like that. And I mean, they've already committed so much money to the prize pool that I'm sure they have it all figured out, hopefully. Let's talk a little bit about Street Fighter 6 though. The news for that is supposed to come in the summer as well, and I don't think it's going to come in the fall. I think we'll get a release date in the summer for like spring 2023 at the earliest. It might even be summer. I'm just happy that we know it's on its way. And, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, it's not going to come out in the fall because the CPT season probably is not going to end until next spring. And then they'll announce an actual like release date maybe at the end of Capcom Cup or like some further information. I think it's still a ways out, and they have to run. I hope they run betas and stuff, and they're probably not going to run it on the PC again because people cracked it and stole it the first time with Street Fighter V. But I'm hoping that launch goes a lot smoother than what I heard Street Fighter V had, because they do have 2 new directors, and so far they've been doing a great job on the seasons that they had to make because of COVID. The other thing that's really exciting about this year is offline is coming back, I think, in full force. All the majors are kind of scheduled for this year. They have Texas Showdown, CEO is I think in June, Combo Breaker, EVO. All the big ones are back. You know, we had Frosty and all that at the beginning of this year and last year, but every major is pretty much back at this point. And I think I hope we're at the tail end of COVID, you know, cross your fingers and pray. But if not, the TOs seem to have a system down that minimizes the amount of COVID cases that are coming out of these tournaments, right? The first CEO was kind of rough, like in, what was it, December or something? But Frosty seemed a lot better, and it seems like they're getting the system down a lot better. Which also means that all of like the world leagues and all that, whatever you want to call them, like CPT, the Arxis World Tour, the DBFZ one, will hopefully not get canceled this time, and hopefully we can have all the top players get flown into wherever the venue is. Like for CPT, for example, they're supposed to all be, I think, in Dominican Republic, and then that got canceled. And then they're supposed to be somewhere else this year. It got canceled again. So I hope it doesn't get canceled. I just want to see them play one last CPT in person, you know, offline. Same thing with Guilty Gear and DNF Duel and all that. The one thing that I'm holding out for at EVO, like the EVO announcements, I want to see some Project L footage. I want to see something at least about that game. I mean, it's been so long that they just keep putting out these weird tiny little trailers. I want to see some real gameplay. I want to see two people fighting. It would be, what would be really insane is if they had like a play test at EVO, like a booth. That would be pretty crazy, but I don't think they will. I just want them to say something about it. Just anything. It can be one of the Cannon brothers just muttering something about Vi under his breath into the mic, and I'll be hyped. But yeah, that's the one thing I'm holding out for. I think we will get some type of Project L news by the end of the year, I hope. And I think the game will come out in 2024, which is still 2 years from now. But as long as they take their time and it comes out and it's good, that is huge. That's all I really care about. We don't want it to do what Cyberpunk did, where that show was hyped up for 12 years, something like that, something ridiculous, and it came out and people were not happy with what they saw, on the consoles at least. I know some people on PC like that game because it didn't have the performance issues, but console was unexcusable. So anything to avoid a disaster like that. There are people who don't even play fighting games. There are people who are not even in the fighting game community who are holding out for that game. And there's a few reasons for why that is, but I'm going to save that for another video, I think. I could go on for another 12 minutes about that alone. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm hyped for this year. I'm going to be at Texas Showdown, by the way. I think I kind of said that a few times, but I'll be there. I booked everything. I got the flight to fly across Texas because I live in the middle of fucking nowhere and I got to get back to Houston somehow. So if you happen to see me, don't be afraid to walk up and talk to me, I guess. I don't know. I've never been to a real major while I was making these videos. I don't really know how many people are out there who really travel and play fighting games who would even know who I am. So it should be a cool experience to actually meet a lot of the people who I've met online only, like who I've talked to on the internet but haven't actually played against, or definitely haven't played against offline. That's going to be it for me today. If you enjoyed this one, please consider subscribing.